Do you tape off the back of your canvases before you do an acrylic pour? If you don't, you should. So let me explain what I mean by that, because it is absolutely not necessary to use tape on the back of your canvas. You can totally do your acrylic pours without it. And if you're a beginner, that's fine. Don't worry about it. The messy back, not a problem. It goes on the wall. But if you're trying to step up your game in terms of paintings and produce pieces that are more professional looking, even if it's on a basic canvas, not a really deep canvas, to try to make a professional look, making a nice looking back helps with that. So I'm going to show you why and how to tape off the back of your canvas for acrylic pouring today. So today I'm going to be using blue painter's tape. Today I'm using Hippie Crafter brand. Never used this before. I'm excited to try it. Comes in a nice pack of 3 rolls, so this will last me a nice long time. All right, so the question is, why should you tape off the back of your canvas? Well, there's a couple of basic reasons, but it all boils down to it makes for a nicer looking back. And that happens kind of in 2 ways. Let me demonstrate. So the first way that not having a taped back is messy is you get smeared paint, either from picking it up from your fingers or it drips down or something else. So let me show you an example of that. So this is my Give Thanks painting. Trying to show it to 2 cameras at once. It's a little bit confusing. Give thanks. So on the back, I didn't tape this one off because I was in a hurry. So for the most part, it didn't get lots of paint on the edges, but there are some places where I picked it up, and here is where I slid it along my spinner, and so it got a big splotch of paint there. So that just doesn't look great. It's hard to find a place to sign it on the painting if you're going to be signing the back of it. So this is fine, absolutely fine. But if you want to make something that looks a bit nicer, it is better to tape off the back because then you don't get these big, ugly smears. Next reason. Even if you're using, for example, a white base for a Dutch pour or something, not taping the back of your canvas can still have negative effects. So let me show you what I mean. So this is a Dutch pour that I did, and this one actually I had a bad paint consistency and it got messed up in a couple areas. This one was my first attempt at my Valentine's Day pour from earlier this year. Really pretty design, but it got messed up. Anyway, take a look at the back. Can you see how bulged these edges are? When a canvas gets damp, it stretches. So even though, like, you wouldn't look at that and go, oh, there's big ugly smears of paint. No, you wouldn't, because it was white paint mostly that would have dripped down on the sides. But I mean, look at that bulge there. That's massive. And so if you were going to sell this, you would need to like take super glue and glue that down so that it's flat. And that's what I did for a long time. For like the first 2 years that I did paintings, every time I'd go to sell them and I'd put the wire on the back, I would glue down the edges. And then I realized, you know what? If I tape it down first, it doesn't bubble up like that because it's held in place while the canvas is wet and then while it's drying. So if you want to save yourself those bulging canvas edges, tape it down first. So if you've never taped off the back of a canvas, I'm going to show you how I do it. So let's open up this package of tape. Yay, got some tape. So depending on the size of your canvas and the quality of your canvas, you may use 1-inch tape like this. That works great for level 1 and student type canvases. If you're wanting to do more of a professional one that's got a thicker wooden frame in the back, like a level 3 canvas, then you might want like 1.5 or 2-inch blue tape so that you can cover not just the canvas that's showing, but also the wood, so you don't get any paint smears on the wood itself. So bear that in mind, but for right now, this 1-inch tape is perfect. So flip over your canvas. Now when I tape it off, I like to leave just a little bit, like 1/4 of an inch, maybe not a full 1/4 between 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch of, that's weird, of plain space near the edge. Does that make sense? Can you see what I'm doing there? So I don't put the tape all the way up to the edge because I like having a little bit of color show through. And also I don't want the tape to stick out underneath and catch paint that's falling down. So I just sort of inset it a little bit. And then you can use scissors. I usually tear it because you only need sort of the points to be really neat. There we go. We have a taped off canvas back. All right, so that's pretty basic, right? Anybody can do it. Now, it does use a fair amount of blue tape. If you're in the beginning stages of acrylic pouring and you're like just struggling to make ends meet and pay for your paint and canvases, spending money on tape may seem like, why should I even bother? So don't feel like you have to do it if you're just a beginner. But if you're trying to elevate your game, this is an important step. Okay, so we've got it taped off. Now, I want to show you what it looks like when you've got a finished painting and you pull up that tape and see what a difference it makes. So let me grab a canvas. Okay, so this is my Glacier Waterfall. I think this is how I had it. So it's taped off, and I haven't taken the tape off yet, so let's do that. That'll be exciting. And it still has the thumbtacks on the back, so I'm just gonna like tape around those. Rip around those. I like leaving the thumbtacks on until after I'm finished varnishing. That way I just know I have a level surface. All right, let's pull this up. Whoops, my tape is ripping. Okay, so there we have it. Now you can see this isn't a perfectly clean edge. Partly, well, there's a couple reasons. Probably I didn't rub it hard enough. Also partly, a plain canvas is not something that's easy to make a perfect seal on. A painted surface is easier to get a seal. But even so, you can see how it's all sort of contained. It's going to be much easier for me to sign this, to have some, some clear space to sign it. And it is not bulging. You see how it's nice and flat there? So it stopped a lot of the mess and it prevented all of the bulge. So wonderful. It was already successful there. Now, if you want to make an edge that's even cleaner than this, much sharper, more defined edge, let me show you how to do that. All right, so we're going back to the canvas that we just taped. Okay, so there are a couple ways that you can make your tape seal better. The first one uses a hair dryer to warm up the tape, which kind of activates the sticky part of it, and then you just really rub your finger hard along it, and that'll make a better seal. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Great. So this is sealed much better now. And so that's probably enough. Now, if you're really like, it has to be a totally clean edge, I can't afford to have any leaking, there is one other step that you could take, so let me show you that now. So that step is painting over the edge of your tape to create a complete barrier that no wet paint can then flood inside. So to do that, you just take some white paint. I'm just using craft paint because it dries fast, it's inexpensive, and then you can just paint across the top of that. So all you need to get is the edge. You do want to make sure that you don't leave a lot of texture, you know, big blobs of paint that you'll be able to see the texture of. But all you have, this is the bottom of the canvas, so it's not a big deal anyway. But we're just painting across that line, and as that paint dries, it will create a layer that your wet paint cannot cross. You want a pretty thin layer of this barrier, just so that it doesn't grab the tape too much, that you can still peel the tape up without it being a problem. There we go. Let me just run my finger along the side to make sure there's no big drips that I'm not seeing. So that's pretty easy, right? That took me, what, 30 seconds to do one side? So let me just finish up the rest of the canvas really quick. So there we go. There we've got a really thorough seal. We've taped it, we've warmed the tape, we've painted over the tape. There should be no leakage getting under here. I wish I could show you a really satisfying, you know, after doing the painting, peel it up and show it really slow. I can't do that because I haven't done the painting yet, but I am sure that this is going to be a really clean look. So that is why you should always tape off the back of your paintings if you can afford to do so. It makes for a much better look. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you learned something new here. Let me know down in the comments. Do you regularly tape off the back of your canvases, or is it something that you haven't really done yet? I hope you'll come back to my channel and check out some of my other tip videos. I have lots of information there about how to tighten a saggy canvas, how to mix your paint, stuff like that. So check out this playlist that's popping up somewhere in here to watch some of those videos, but I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.